Hello and welcome to Dragon Riders Around the Watch D&D Talk. I am Dorgan Kishu, Paladin and Dragon Rider. Thanks for coming by. It's been a couple weeks since I did my last episode. I've been at work on my high con campaign setting slash adventures module. For those of you that don't know, I published, self-published, I don't know. My first module, Rhealm, back in 2019 in November. And then I came up with a concept in the August before, a few months before that. And then in January 2020, I started to work on it on and off. I hired an artist to do some illustrations. It's been an on and off project. I did a lot of foundation stuff, but there's a lot more drafts, a lot more fleshing out that I needed to do. And I actually recently got with Rob at Live and Let's Die, who has streams on Twitch and is also on Twitter. He helped me to flesh it out a little bit. I just kind of went through it with him, and we kind of talked about some of the mechanics, campaign-specific mechanics. And sorry about the noise in the background, a little louder today. Anyway, thank you again, Rob. That was awesome. And then I went from there to working on the next draft, which will incorporating some of the things that him and I talked about. And it's just going to be a layers thing for now. I really, really love to publish it this year, and we'll see what happens. Today, let's just see if there's anybody in chat. Mainly this channel, this show, Around the Watch, is about talking to people in chat about Dungeons and Dragons. Let's see, there is someone there, but they may just be hello IVF, if you can hear me. And so when there are people, sometimes these episodes will go longer because we'll actually talk about Dungeons and Dragons and or the topic of D&D that I've decided to include. The topics are just for me to have something to talk about in case there's nobody in chat, but also to these videos will be available on here, but I'm also going to be I upload them rather to my YouTube channel so people can watch them there and also reply to any of the content within. The first thing I kind of wanted to talk about was some villains. Villains are a big deal to me. Villains are probably the biggest deal to me in any story. Well, not all stories have villains, but I'm going back a few years. In 2017 is when I returned to Dungeons and Dragons and learned 5e. And I was a player, and I had a friend run a group, and that ended at the end of 2017. And in 2018, my girlfriend Kate asked if I would run a campaign for her, so I started a one-player campaign, which I have never done before. Not a campaign for one person. I've ran single people, just doing regular play and adventures and whatnot. But so I don't want to go way into her character, but because she's actually, it's really cool. She was so into her character that she started to do a blog retelling the beginnings, because she's level 26 now, close to 27, and we played a lot for the first 2 or 3 years, a lot. And she is started doing blogs of the beginnings, and potentially will be publishing a book at some point down the road. She has obviously a lot of writing to do and a lot of editing and everything else, but her blogs show the different chapters. So, and you're welcome to. I'm trying to think. I guess I could. I think on the YouTube video below it, I'll probably put her link if you want to check out those chapters. I love them. I know she's my girlfriend, but I've always thought she's a good writer. All right. But I will say that some of the villains that we've gone against along the way are some of the traditional ones. Interestingly enough, our first major villain that she faced was Aurel, like the Queen of Winter. She has different names. And she was trying to take over the particular continent and with winter and whatnot. And, I recently saw something that it sounded like that new D&D Frost Maiden Winter, what is it called? Anyway, the Frost Maiden adventure that they came out with, and the book came out. I think Aurel may have ended up being the main bad guy in that, and I did not know that. And that's kind of wow, because she was a big part of our campaign the first couple of years. Well, initially the original. Let me see if just make sure there's not somebody who jumped in here. The original, of course, Kate was a low level when she first had any interactions with her, and so she wasn't going to be able to defeat her alone, and she had several companions at that point. But and I won't go too much into that story, like I said, because that'll probably be in her book and all that. But Aurel was just a great big bad. I loved using her. She was in Kate's character's head a lot, and she then kind of was out of it for a while, but then came back, and I don't know how much I should be giving away because she's putting this in her book, but I really don't know when she's publishing that. It probably won't be the same people that are watching this. But anyway, yeah, so Aurel was amazing. Like I said, the Frost Maiden, I know I'm forgetting one of the words in the title, something Frost Maiden. But the Wizards of the Coast book, that book looks scary to me, but awesome. I own several of their books. I homebrew everything, so I generally have had the tendency of buying books and not using them. And so that's been rough, except for like Monster. Well, like, of course, the original, I have the Player's Manual, Dungeon Master Guide, Monster's Manual, Xanathar's book of everything. Let's see here. Anyway, that is an awesome book. But I did recently buy one of the books, D&D books, and I promised myself I would start to use it. So I've been using some of that book, weaving it into my current Discord group that I run every 2 to 3 weeks. So, highly recommend Aurel. I don't know about the Frost Maiden thing. I'm sure that they probably made her pretty wicked in that too. Moving up, down the road, Osmotus. There were the Arc Devils. She got hired, the Arc Devils and the Demon Lords. I believe Baphomet was sending in some demons to Waterdeep. I have my own material plane, but I also use Forgotten Realms as a second material realm. I found that it was usually a place where they'd go to Waterdeep and the group would go shopping or something, buy things, certain magic things and whatnot. Because they aren't, Kate's group isn't really they aren't really treasure hunters. They've been a lot more involved politically in the campaign, which means, and they have made money from that, but it's never been a focus. So my point is they're not out there seeking monsters that might drop, a lot of treasures. So I made things more available for sale, but they're expensive. And a lot of things that they have either found or have been given to, like in her case, her patron has given her things, and I've made a lot of custom stuff. But Osmotus was a phenomenal character. Scary, not just because he's evil and powerful, but I really played on the presence of him. He is very not mechanical, but and really terrified. I think Kate's character would terrified a lot of her party too, that normally aren't afraid of anything. And I've had a lot of fun having him. And she battled Levistus, one of the other Archdevils. He's frozen in a block of ice, I believe. I believe Osmotus put him there as a punishment, but he still ruled one of the levels of hell. That was the first Archdevil that we had an amazing battle with. And the Demon Lords, though, were causing trouble, and they were always kind of neck and neck, or kind of at each other's neck, trying to get more power. And we, at some point, we worked our way up to Orcus, and Orcus is in a place called Everlost. And we had a big group, because she has allies. I run, group members, but I also run a lot of allies. And when there's these big battles, I run a lot of stuff at once. And because she's, and then she she was so we battled against Orcus, and that was a scary battle that they were victorious in, but it was challenging. And Orcus was just gruesome, but a really interesting big bad to play. Yeah, Baphomet was cool. Baphomet wasn't around as long, but Orcus was a big deal. I used him for a while. He was challenging, and yeah. So there's a few. I don't think anybody came in, so we won't be able to have any discussion about the villains that they've used. But if this people that watch this on my YouTube, definitely reply below. Tell me about the big villains you've used, and tell me about how it went. Beyond the Archdevils and the Demon Lords, because we defeated Demogorgon. That was had two big battles with him, because actually two big battles, and then yeah, it's complicated. But he finally did in the campaign. He finally did end. But he was really, really rough. But I was going to say that as time went by, I did do something where I brought in what I called the Elder Gods, or the Old Gods. I think it was the Elder Gods. I played it like trying to remember Ares and some other, like I chose like 8 or 10 different gods that returned to the material planes because they'd left, or they weren't ever, well, they didn't live there anyway, but they had lost people that believed in them, and they were losing power. So they returned only to meet, Kate's group had been kind of battling off demon lords, and not so much archdevils. The archdevils, those were they weren't necessarily. Levistus was involved with trying to take over part of the material plane, but other than that, the archdevil stuff has really taken place on the Nine Hells. And yeah, so I'm trying to remember exactly. Oh yeah, so I was talking about. So I brought in the what I call the Elder Gods later on, and I won't go into too much of that either. But that was really challenging and interesting too, as she got higher and higher. But just trying to be creative, trying to figure out new things for her to be dealing with. Yeah, so that's enough about that. Like I said, if you watch this on YouTube, I don't think you can leave comments here on Twitch, on the Twitch video, but if you watch this on YouTube, which this will go up on, and my socials are down below if you want to find my Twitter. Actually, my YouTube and my Twitter are going to be down below, as well as PDF and the printed copy of my modules. There's also links there for that if you want to check those out. But yeah, so but yeah, if you go to the YouTube link after this is updated on there, and you want to talk about this stuff, I will reply to your replies. So all right, just basically on the regular D&D, I've been playing less. Okay, there was Kate and I were playing that one for a long time, but she's been busier and busier as we've played it less and less. We both miss it a lot. And then she actually started a campaign a couple of years back, and ran it for me and a buddy from Twitter, and then we added a couple more. I added a couple more friends from Twitter. Schedules were a little challenging. He's in the UK. They're in Ohio. I'm in California, and then but also my friend in Eric in Ohio, has a certain kind of schedule thing with his job. Like his schedules change all the time. So bottom line is that where Kate and I were playing with the UK friend, whether the other two could make it, Eric and his wife. After a while, it didn't feel right playing without them. The story got too. So we started playing less frequently. Played every 5th and 6th week. That was how it worked out. And then after a while, my friend Chris in the UK decided to leave the group. That was I don't know, a couple months ago, maybe a month or two, and we have not resumed. And because Kate was going to try to figure out where and what to do with it at that point, because yeah, Chris was such a big part of it. So that's I don't know if that's going to continue or not. That's all in Kate's party, and she's very busy, so I haven't heard anything from that. But my point is that I was playing that one for a while. I was playing that did we play every week or two for a while? We played anyway, and then we play less often. And but anyway, so that campaign went out. Now I was a player in that, so definitely miss being a player. I'm hardly ever a player. I'm mostly a dungeon master. Not complaining. I love dungeon mastering, but I really would like to be a player again in an additional campaign. So yeah, so I haven't been playing D&D as much because that campaign kind of went away. The one that I started in Twitter, just in kind of group Twitter chat thing, because I just love D&D so much, I became a Discord campaign. Play every 2 weeks to 3 weeks, and that was a five players and me as a DM. My first D&D campaign that I've ran online. I've been a player online, but I haven't been Dungeon Master online, and I love it. It's the best. Discord is really easy to have fun to use, and they just kind of chat a little and do gifts along the way here and there. But it's been really great. I was using the Groovy app for music, which they Google shut down, and it switched over to Rhythm, which I read was going to probably be shut down quickly after, and the Rhythm just got shut down. It's going to be shut down too, I think, at the end of this month. I think the problem is they access YouTube videos without ads. So it kind of skips around the ads, and YouTube doesn't want that. Google owns YouTube, I believe. So that's kind of a bummer in regards to music, but it's been really great. So anyway, yeah, so that's been the main campaign lately, is this Discord one. And we played this last Sunday. I loved the session. I mean, I love these guys. I love playing with these guys. They're all super into Dungeons and Dragons. I think one of the guys, Tim, I think this might be his first online campaign that he's been involved with. I think in real life, or in person rather, I think he's been dungeon mastering for some time. He says he prefers to be a player. I think he kind of fell into the dungeon master role at some point with a group that he's been playing with for years. It's been great to have him. He's been playing D&D for a long time. Great to pull somebody that's never done an online thing, and then there's Eric and his wife Mel again are in this campaign as well, and they are awesome enthusiasts of Dungeons and Dragons. They also make beautiful dice bags. On the YouTube version of this video, I'll put a link down below for their dice bags. 1 second, I just want to check chat again, make sure there's not somebody I'm not on. There's somebody. See. Hello, Skeleton. Okay. Don't know if these guys can hear me or not. Jump in here, and if you guys can hear me and you want to talk Dungeons and Dragons or about anything I'm talking about, just jump into the conversation. That's why I'm here, to talk to chat mostly, but talk about people about D&D. But it is a new stream, so sometimes there's just nobody in chat, and that's fine. I just do some content as well so that I can upload it to YouTube, give people something to watch and maybe reply to if they're interested. Yeah, so we've the group that I run in Discord, the way that I started it really was several years back. I created an adventure. It was about a hobgoblin's lair. It was a city nearby, and they hire people to kill some chimeras that were in the way. To kill some chimeras, but really these chimeras were protecting a lair. It was a hobgoblin lair, which actually was a silver dragon lair before that. So the place, and anyway, it's filled. The lair itself is actually filled with silver, or it was. At least in my campaign, that's things have changed. Like silver was taken away. But yeah, so anyway, I just kind of started those guys when I was doing the Twitter thing with this hobgoblin adventure. I had thrown this adventure together just to have on hand in case I came across some people that wanted to play D&D. And like, for instance, my brother, who lives 8 hours north, doesn't come down much, but if he was down, I would like to have something. So I used this thing I had already created them, and then I weaved that into what's now a campaign. And they traveled through the land. I have several continents in my material plane, and they went through one that I didn't really use much with Kate's campaign. So, which was good because she's a character in this, like Kate's also in this group, a new character, and she kind of was hoping she'd get to enjoy some new places, and I don't think we really use this particular continent. Also, we've been weaving in other planes and different things, trying to keep it interesting for everybody. And let me think what else. Yeah, right now we're just one of the party, Eric, is playing cleric of Tempest, and he is questing for champions for Tempest, for some future thing that Tempest is going to be doing, some future evil he's going to be dealing with or something. That's kind of what the information that's been given so far. And the rest of the party just travels with him. But they all have their own personalities and whatnot, and all that's would be figured out as they go. All of this stuff. So it's just a young campaign. It's just getting going, and it's really only my third campaign that I've ran. I ran one when I was a teenager, when I first got into D&D, and then I ran one in my late 20s with some people from work and people from a theater group that I was in, and that was cool because they played evil and or chaotic characters. So I had as a dungeon master, I had a paladin and was hunting them because they were all kind of on the shady side. And then Kate's campaign. So this is actually so Discord is my fourth campaign actually. I'm used to saying my third campaign, but now I'm really kind of this is my fourth campaign that I'm running. So yeah, so I'll check one more time, see if there's anybody else in there. Otherwise, I'll probably call this one. I appreciate you coming by. Didn't go super into Kate's campaign because she's going to be writing about that, but I will answer questions, about the villains and all that. And what was the other one that I used? That other major villain. I'm just drawing a blank. The main Grozit. The main demon lord. I love that character. He's like my kind of villain. Just so interesting. And so anyway, I really appreciate you coming by. And let's see, today is Wednesday, so I might be doing one or two more of the D&D talk. My hope is at some point down the line, I would love to do some online play. But that is on not on hold, but it's not happening yet, but I do hope that it will happen at some point. But until then, I will probably continue to do these as well, though, which is just talking about D&D. So, thank you so much for coming by, and have a great day.